Who knows how it happens, but it always happens that if a person uses a database for long enough, they'll create duplicates. It just happens. Maybe they forget that a record was already in and then they type that information again. Maybe the record that they make isn't exactly like the record before. Maybe the name is even spelled wrong. But the fact is, they end up with duplicate information on the database connected to exactly the same person. So we've got more than one database record connected to one flesh and blood person. And as an administrator of the database and someone that wants to help the user to be more productive, one of your jobs is to keep the database lean and to keep it accurate. And so since this is an ongoing battle, ACT has built into it the tools to help you. And so first thing we're going to do is take a look at a tool called Scan for Duplicates. What we're going to do is go up to the menu bar and click on Tools, and then we're going to come down and click on Scan for Duplicates. And as you'll see, ACT brings up the Scan for Duplicate Contacts dialog box. And notice that by default it's set to company, contact, and phone. In other words, it's going to match exactly on company, and then contact, and then phone. So what the system is doing is looking for exact matches. If anything is different, if a telephone number is different in this case, then it won't show up as a duplicate record. But they've got to be duplicated somewhere. So your job is to kind of figure out where they are most likely going to be duplicated. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this. Instead of company, contact, and phone, what I want is last name. So I'm going to click on the drop down arrow and then select it, and then first name, and so I'm going to select it, and then city, and I'm going to select city, and then I'm going to click on OK. Let's see what it goes out and finds. Well, it found some duplicates. Now we need to take a closer look at this. If all you had found was 2 duplicates and you pretty much knew what you were looking for, you might say yes, go ahead and combine those now. But in this case, we need to take a closer look. So what we're going to do is we're going to say no, don't combine those just yet. Now let's look at the bottom here at this Verge Records. Well, Verge Records has a chief engineer and a CEO. And if you'll notice then, we've got Theodore Barrett Jr. and Theodore Barrett Sr. That's father and son. That is not a duplicate record. So we're going to get rid of that one right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down my control key and I'm going to click on each of those, and then I'm going to right click and then click on Omit Selected Contacts. So that just takes them off of the list. Now what do we have left to work with? Well, we've got this duplicate on Liz Detmeyer. Now it shows her at Detmeyer Delights as a customer influencer, and it also shows her at Brandy's Bakery. Now we need to know which one she really is in. Now we may have some notes for her. We may have some things that we want to make sure that we keep up with. So it depends on what reality is in this point. But what we found is that there's a problem. We've got Liz Detmeyer, and we've got her at 2 different companies. So therefore, we need to do a little bit more research. But if we decide that what we want to do is copy one over to the other to make sure that we don't lose any of this information, then we need to decide where she is. If she's at Brandy's Bakery, then what I want to do is copy the second one over the first. In other words, if I have this one selected and then I select Brandy's Bakery, then I'm going to copy the second over the first. What I'm going to do, let's say she is at Brandy's Bakery. So what I'm going to do is hold down my control key, and then I'm going to go up and click on Tools, and then I'm going to click on Copy and Move Contact records. And notice then that it's asking me, well, do you want to copy 1 to 2 or do you want to copy 2 to 1? And the source contact is Brandy's Bakery. The target contact, contact 2, is Detmer Delights. Well, let's say that she is at Brandy's Bakery. Then I would want to copy the source contact information over the target. But if I do a little bit more research, I might find that she actually left Brandy's Bakery and formed Detmer Delights. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy Detmer Delights over Brandy's Bakery. So we're going to copy contact 2 to contact 1, click on next, and it says, okay, what do you want to do? You can specify which fields you want to copy and the contact record, so you can make this as detailed as you want. Well, what's going to happen is I want to get the best information. I want to get the latest information when I get done. So all ACT is doing here is helping me to come back to what is actually reality. I click on next, and then also what else do you want to move? Do you want to move notes? Do you want to move histories? I want to move notes and histories because I want to keep up with what Liz had to do, and also I want to move opportunities. Probably don't want to move secondary contacts because those are going to be likely different now, and we'll fill those in. Probably want to move documents just in case we have some things there that we need to talk about. And then click on next. And then do we want to delete the source record? Well, we can, but we might want to research this a little further before we do that. But the whole purpose was to clean up the database. So at some point we do need to delete the record. And the reason I say this, we're going to go ahead and delete it now. But before you delete any record, you probably want to just take a close look and make sure that you've done it right. We're going to click on next, and it says deleting the contacts cannot be undone. Are you sure you want to do this? And I say yes. And it says okay, well, if you want to complete this, click on finish. We click on finish and we're done. So it's as simple as that. But we need to be careful when we delete things, and we especially need to be careful if we delete a database. We'll talk about deleting the database next.